Well, at the Maxwell Awards, which is one of the prestigious awards in college football, Jordan Davis was asked to wrap up his college career. Here was the question. If you were to select one play from your college career that sums you up as a player, what would it be and why? And Jordan talked about the Charleston Southern touchdown. And it's actually one of the double truck images we have in DAWGSTRUCTION. Please be certain to get your copy today. I'll get them out there as fast as I can. Here's what Jordan said about this moment. He said, the touchdown, it just shows I can have a little fun. It shows who I am as a person. I like to do everything, have a lot of experience, but be able to experience that touchdown, it's a lot more than a lot of people that play college football have. So definitely that's one of my favorite plays. I think just it encapsulates what Georgia is as a program, how much the program means to me and how much I mean to them. Here's a shot of that. I wrote about this in the book. I wrote about this at the time that it was really one of the most special moments in the history of Sanford Stadium. There's Jordan with the Redcoats right afterwards. You're missing out if you don't have this book now. I'm telling you right now. Um, and I write about how Jordan scored and then went over with the entire team basically to party with the Redcoats. And it was a spectacular way to end the season at Sanford Stadium. I mean, you're talking about a program putting it all in perspective. You're talking about a program that the year before went through a pandemic like everybody else, but Georgia only had 3 home games, and the program had not seen a full Sanford Stadium since I think the Texas A&M game of 2019 when they came into the 2020 season, and that Georgia fans could really celebrate this run to the national championship with full stadium, with really a legendary class like this class of 21, Jordan Davis and his group. It really made for the special being extra special in a way. I mean, Jordan diving into the end zone for a touchdown is not surprising. He's not the first defensive player at Georgia to score lately. Jalen Carter did as well on offense. But in the middle of the season, there was this discussion about Jordan being a Heisman Trophy finalist, and I've been a Heisman voter since 2005. And one thing I talked about and wrote about was that if Georgia really wanted Jordan to get to New York, which turned out not to happen, then he needed to score on offense or defense, one of the two. And it was as if either I knew something or they were listening to me. And soon thereafter, we see Jordan Davis getting a handoff from Stetson Bennett, piling into the end zone against Charleston Southern. You may or may not forget or remember, he actually didn't score on the first attempt. He did not score on the first attempt, so they had to gussy the whole thing back up, and the stadium was super excited for that moment. I mean, it was almost more climactic the second go round with Jordan because he had not gotten in. It's kind of hard to imagine that somebody of his size not being able to wiggle their way in or slam their way in to the end zone. But as you can see inside of DAWGSTRUCTION, we're the only ones with this photo. Okay, I'm just letting you know that right now. Someone who has a multi-yard head start and has 340 pounds and probably a good 50 pounds on everybody they're running up against, they should get in. Look at poor number 36 for Charleston Southern. Like, I mean, he's not involved in the play, but 31, I think, was the one that made the play beforehand and really cut Jordan underneath. But, you know, he's gone down in history now because he'll never play for Georgia again. But Jordan, this moment right here was the national championship game that Jordan gave us, and that ball flying around. The Kobe Dean picked it up and scored a touchdown. Now that should have been a touchdown. Didn't get called, but it should have been a touchdown. And Jordan's always going to have a place for him in Athens at games. People will always recognize him because of his size, but really more than that, because of his expressions and the way that he is just as a human being. I mean, he is very interested in being alive. And there's something to be said for that because Jordan Davis, that the week after the national championship game, that Saturday when we got to Athens, only two guys spoke at that event, and Jordan was one of them. And the one quote that I have in here from him talking at Sanford that day is, "This is something nobody can ever take away from us. We are forever legendary," and they are. They have the moments of a lifetime. It caused a lot of grown people to cry in the stands. I heard more comments about that than almost anything else. Jeff Foxworthy and I were talking about it, and he said he was brought to tears and he didn't know why. But he explains in the book why, I think better than he did when he and I were talking on the phone in late January or whenever it was. Um, what Jordan and company gave Georgia fans was the moment of a lifetime, but delayed by decades and having to go through a lot of difficulty along the way. Uh, this was not an easy few years um, lately at Georgia. When you talk about the gut wrenching loss to Alabama in 17, pretty gut wrenching in 18 as well. In 19 to lose to LSU in the championship game, and then 20, COVID was difficult on everybody, no doubt. Um, but 21 was hard to hard to imagine something that Georgia will probably win the national championship again sooner than later. I would say it's going to be hard to top this season. I mean, think about it this way: they beat Alabama, the Gators, Auburn, Tennessee, Clemson, and I'm trying to think of, there was another decent game in there somewhere along the way too. Oh, Michigan. They've won games against all those teams, most of them in double-digit fashion, and then won the national championship in one of the most, you can see it over my back right shoulder, one of the most explosive endings to a game that we've seen since the 17 championship game ended. It was an iconic season, moments that folks won't ever forget. And Jordan said his favorite moment that would wrap up everything would be the run against Charleston Southern. And I got to tell you, I'm not sure he's not wrong. I'm not sure I mean, I think he's nailed it actually. I think that was a huge moment in time, something that we haven't seen and something that we won't see anytime soon in the near future. Jordan is a iconic person in the pantheon of Georgia history. No, he's not Herschel Walker or Charlie Trippy or Sinkwich or those guys, but he's up there. He's up there for sure. Hey, we'll see you on the website. Thanks for checking out DAWGSTRUCTION.